Hello friends, my name's Alexis and welcome to my August TBR. This is going to be a fast one for a few reasons. First off, it is a million degrees out right now and I had to turn off my fan so that you didn't hear it in the background because that's how much I love you. So I need to finish this thing before I end up melting. And second, I'm trying to film this really quick before Dan gets home from work. He's already on his way and we have errands to run. So when he gets here, I have to leave. So we are going to just go rapid fire through these books that I'm trying to read in the month of August. So first up, one thing you should know about me is I love a readathon, and I am so excited to talk to you today about my TBR for the Full Moon Readathon hosted by Readathon. This is like my favorite readathon to participate in every year. I've been doing it this is my third year. I've been doing it since she started them. These prompts are just so incredibly creative, and she always throws in like a little self-care prompt at the end as like a reward for completing the book prompts, and I just love it. It's so much fun and I'm so excited. This is my first year I'm gonna be able to vlog for it, so look out for that. But because I can never make anything easy for myself, I am trying to complete this 13-day readathon in 7 days because for the last 6 days of the readathon, I will be out of town. So it's ambitious, but nothing new here. So first up, I will tell you about the books I am going to read for the clown prompt. And of course, Jan's video explaining all the different prompts and how you can participate in this readathon is linked below. So to collect the clown character, we have to complete 3 prompts, the first being a book with humor. And I have decided for this prompt to read Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. So this might not be your first thought when you think of a book with humor, but to me, the first book in this series, Butcher and Blackbird, was so funny. I just remember like laughing out loud at it. So while this is kind of like a dark romance, it definitely has some humor in it. And I'm just really looking forward to reading this one. And I knew it would make me laugh, so I'm counting it for the humor prompt. So this one is a sequel to The Butcher and Blackbird. So I'm not going to tell you the synopsis of this one, but the first one followed 2 serial killers, but they're like the good guy serial killers, like the vigilantes in the serial killer world. They actually hunt the bad guy serial killers, and they end up teaming up and kind of doing a competition to see who can take down the most serial killers and end up falling in love in the process. And it was just really good. Like I said, I laughed a lot at it. The spicy scenes were A+. I liked the romance, like everything about it. So I am very excited to get into the second one. Our next prompt is to read a book with a colorful cover, and I don't have this one physically, but I will be picking it up from my library, and that is Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. So this is going to be my 3rd Sarah Gailey that I've read, and so far I really like her other books. I love The Echo Wife. Like that is one like lives rent-free in my head. I think about that book all the time. And then she had that like Westerner one, Upright Women Wanted, and while that wasn't like a favorite of all time, I still really enjoyed it. So I am super looking forward to Just Like Home. I've heard that if you don't take this one too seriously, you're more likely to enjoy it, and I've heard it compared a lot to The September House, so I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a quick audiobook to get me through this readathon. And I mean, look at this cover. I'm just really hoping I love it. That way I can buy the physical version to display on my shelves because I'm obsessed with it. So I think this one follows a girl whose father was a serial killer. That is really funny that for the clown prompt, I have 2 serial killer books, but her father was a serial killer and he's gone now, but she's returning to her childhood home and I think like uncovering some of his dark secrets that he might have left behind in the house. Not really too sure, but super excited to get into it and see what's going on. And for the last prompt, like I said, it's not book related, but it's kind of like a self-care activity. And this is to do something that brings out your inner child. I don't have any ideas for what I want to do for that yet, but make sure you subscribe if you're curious to know. I am too, but whatever I end up doing will be in that vlog. Next character we have is the Mummy. The first prompt for this one is to read a paperback book, which, can I just say thank you, Jan, for making this such an easy prompt that you could literally put anything in this slot. So I've decided I want to do another sequel because I'm really trying to finish some series this month. That is Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. So this is another one that I read the first book in the series earlier this year and I loved it. I'm obsessed with it. I read the entire thing in one day. I couldn't put it down. I was just thinking about these characters every second that I wasn't reading the book. And yeah, nobody is more surprised than me that I enjoyed a cowboy romance and I am like looking forward to reading another one. Who is she? Yeah, so this is so funny to me that I love these books so much, but like it just shows you what a great author Lila Sage is. So again, won't go into details because it is the second book in a series, but it's a romance, it's a cowboy romance. We have the main character from the first book's brother is like the male love interest in this. And I believe the female love interest is like from out of town and she's coming in to help him out on something and they fall in love as you do in a romance. And just like these covers, I don't even care if I don't like this book. I'm keeping it for the cover. This is so gorgeous and I love her sleeve of tattoos. Like, I just want to like hang this on the wall and stare at it. The next prompt is to read a book you've had for a long time, and for this prompt I've decided I'm actually going to do a reread and pick up the first volume of Death Note, and this is actually the black edition, so this is volume 1 and 2 in one bind up. I did read this like a really long time ago. I want to say it was probably 2018 or 2019. It's when I first got back into reading. I had just watched the anime and was so obsessed with this story, but when I read it, because it was so close to the anime, and like the anime is like a perfect adaptation of the manga. Like it is page per page on the screen, at least for the first 1 and 2 volumes. That I just didn't continue the story because it was so fresh in my head, but now that it's been a few years and I'm just really craving a reread of the first 2 and then to continue with the series, I thought this would be the perfect time to pick it up. And then hopefully in September, I'll read the second Black Edition volume and then just keep going from there until I finish the series. So yeah, if you don't know what this one is about, I'm pretty sure most people know this anime. It's one of the most famous out there. Like even as somebody who had never watched anime before this one, I had heard of this. So this one is about a high school student named Light, and one day he finds a death note on the ground, and this is a magical notebook that when you write somebody's name in it, they die. And so Light uses this death note to start being like a vigilante. He starts killing criminals, and even though he sees himself as doing a good thing, the police in this world do not, so he starts getting hunted by them, and yeah, it's just really, really good. I think if you're trying to get into manga or anime, this is a great starting point, especially if you like thrillers or true crime. Like I'm a big fan of those, and I think that's why this is my favorite anime of all time. Sorry about my hair changing. I had to take a break to turn on the fan because I'm dying, and now I can't get my bangs to lay straight, so we're just gonna ignore it and continue like nothing happened. So the non-bookish prompt for this character is to post your reading wrap up so far. I will be doing this on Instagram, so if you don't already follow me, link is below. It's the same handle as my YouTube channel at Alexis Fully Booked, and I would love to have you over there. Our next character is going to be the wolf, and this was definitely the most challenging prompt to find a book for, but I'm really excited with what I came up with. For this, I'm going to be reading The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. I have really enjoyed all of the Christina Henry I've read so far, so super excited to get to this one. This one is, of course, by the cover, I'm sure you can tell, a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, but it's set in like the dystopian future. This one is a post-apocalyptic take on the classic Little Red Riding Hood about a woman who isn't as defenseless as she seems. I think this is going to be a really great time. I just love a strong, badass female character who doesn't take anybody's shit and knows how to stick up for herself. And this is another one that I'm going to be getting the audiobook from my library for. Next prompt is to read a special edition or a book with an alternative cover. And for this one, I don't have it in my hands yet. It is scheduled to be delivered tomorrow, but I didn't want to wait to film this. So it is going to be the Evernight box, which is part of the Illumicrate horror subscription. This is going to be The Eyes of the Best Part by Monica Kim. I have just been like foaming at the mouth waiting for this book to come out, and then I was gonna go get it on release day, and I saw some spoilers that this was going to be the Evernight book pick, so I'm like, shit, I have to wait till my beautiful edition gets here. So like the minute it gets here tomorrow, I might cry. Like I haven't seen any spoilers about what the cover looks like, but I am so excited. This one is another serial killer-esque book. I know it's about a young woman who becomes obsessed with eyes and I think starts killing people and maybe eating them. Don't take anything I'm saying right now to be the truth. I think this is just like the little bits I've picked up, but I could be completely wrong. But yeah, I've seen this one compared a lot to Mayfly, which was like on my top 10 books of last year. I'm obsessed with Maeve, so like if this is even a little bit like that one, I know I'm gonna love it. I'm already expecting this one to be on my top favorite books of the year. And the self-care prompt for this one is to spend some time in nature. This prompt will be no problem for me to complete because the reason I am trying to condense the full moon readathon into 7 days is because during the second half of it, I'm going to be camping. I go on an annual camping trip with my friends every single August, and we go for a long weekend, and yeah, it's super fun. But yeah, this readathon is just happening at truly the perfect time because I'm going to be out in nature during it. So finally, we have made it to our last character prompt of the readathon, and that is the Raven. I absolutely love that this one is a character this year. I'm a little biased, you know. So the first prompt for this one is to read a classic, and that could be a book, poem, or a short story, and I decided to go with a kind of modern classic. And I'm going to be reading The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. I don't know if I'm correct, but this one just always gives me summertime vibes. I don't know if the suicides happen during summertime, but in my head they do. Okay, it says over the course of a single year, so at least one of them has to happen in the summertime, right? Hopefully. Even if not, like, I'm still gonna read it. So this one is actually told by the neighbors of this family where 5 sisters all commit suicide. And I've seen it everywhere and never watched the movie or read the book. So I think it's finally time to see what it's all about. And I picked up this version, which is the 25th anniversary edition from Barnes & Noble last year. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I think it's so pretty. Ooh, this one could have also counted for my special edition. I need to double up on prompts. That's going to be good to remember, but right now at least I'm trying to complete each prompt with a separate book. Okay, and our final bookish prompt for the Raven is going to be read a book by an author you love, and for this I'm going to be reading Jimenez's Abby's newest book, Just for the Summer. This is the 3rd book in the like Part of Your World series, even though I don't think you have to read them in order. It's just like you would be spoiled for which couples got together in the first 2 books, probably. I just know this is a cute rom-com summer romance, and I want to get to it before summer's over. Oh yeah, this is the one with the curses. So every time Emma breaks up with a guy, he goes on to date the woman he marries. So like she thinks she's cursed. And so she ends up meeting a man named Justin, who has gone viral online claiming to be a love good luck charm. The 2 have come up with an ingenious plan. If they date each other, their curses will cancel out and they'll go on to find their soulmate. Super excited for this one. I really love the first book in this series, A Part of Your World. Fun fact, the main characters in that, Alexis and Daniel, are me and my boyfriend's names, so I had to love it, of course. And then the second one, Yours Truly, was a high 4-star for me. It had a trope in it that I hate, so it did get knocked down from being a 5-star, but it was very, very close, so I am expecting this one to be a 5-star or a high 4-star, and I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I can't wait. Okay, so I recognize that's already a very ambitious TBR to read in 13 days, or in my case, I'm trying to read it in 7 days. So I decided I'm gonna be kind to myself, and I didn't pack my TBR for the rest of the month too full. So to give myself sort of a break, here are just a few of the other books I'm going to try to get to in the month of August. And so first up, I want to tell you about the 2 books that are coming from my 12 Recs by 12 Friends list, because I have fallen behind on that. But hopefully after August, I will be back on track to just read 1 a month. So first up is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. So this one ended up being like one of the most popular books on BookTube last year. And I mean, people were just all over on it. Either you loved it or you absolutely hated it. And just hearing about it and hearing it be described as Gossip Girl but set in the UK, like, I think I'm gonna love it. It's basically Chuck and Blair's relationship from Gossip Girl, and like I was obsessed with them. They had me in a chokehold. They are like the perfect example of the most toxic, like popcorn couple you will ever see. Like, it's like a car crash. You don't want to stare at them, but you cannot look away. It is just so addicting, and I'm really hoping this one gives me the same vibes. This one is following London socialite Magnolia and BJ, Britain's most photographed bad boy who broke her heart, and I think it's just going to be a wild ride of like this toxic on again off again relationship, and I just really hope this thing sucks me in. I want to love it. Another book on my 12 Recs list is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. Now this is a chunky boy, which is why I've been very scared to read it. but just something about it gives me summer vibes, and August is the last month of summer, so I'm running out of time to read it. Again, I don't know if that's correct. I don't know if it takes place in the summer. That's just the vibes I'm getting, so I could be completely wrong. But this one I know is about a father and son who set out on a road trip after the death of their wife/mother, and just they're kind of confronted with the terrifying legacy she has bequeathed. The woman they mourn came from a clan like no other, a centuries-old secret society called the Order that commits unspeakable acts in search of eternal life. Like, oh my God, that sounds so incredible. I just want to start it right now. So yeah, I think once I get into this, I'm absolutely gonna love it. It just sounds so good, so creepy, and I'm not gonna let the big book scare me. It's gonna be fine. So next up, this one is the Literally Dead book club pick for August, and that is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. Even if this wasn't the book club pick, I was going to read this because I have been waiting to get my hands on this. I love me some Stephen Graham Jones. His J. Daniel series is one of my favorite of all time, and I've heard this one is a lot like it. It's a slasher. It deals with a person in the 90s or 80s. 1989. So yeah, it's just about a young man recounting how he was a teenage slasher for one summer. And I've been seeing nothing but great reviews about it, so I just know I'm gonna love it, and I'm so excited. I know, you're sick of me saying I'm excited for these books, but like, what else do you want me to say? Of course I'm excited to read all of these. This next one I do not own, but I will be getting it from my library, Vows and Ruins by Helen Schurer. This is the second book in the Blood and Steel series. I ended up reading this first one earlier in the month of July, and I loved it. I was so obsessed. I wanted to throw my entire July TBR out the window and just continue with this series, but I was good. I did not do it, but I immediately put the sequel on my TBR. Again, we're just really trying to complete goals this month and to continue on series I'm in the middle of. So again, with this one being a sequel, I won't give you any details about it, but the first one was so good. If you like fantasy romance, definitely pick it up. I highly recommend it. The first one is about a woman who wants nothing more in life to be part of the king's guard. Like, she just really wants to train and be a warrior for the kingdom, but in this world, women are forbidden from wielding blades until one day something happens, you know, as they usually do in fantasy books, and she is given the chance to live her dream and train. And oh my God, this book was just so incredible. I have a really hard time getting into high fantasy, like picturing what's going on, understanding the world building, and this book was so well done. Like, I got it. I actually understood what was happening in a fantasy book, and the romance in it was so good. Wilder Hawthorne is a new bookish crush, and so is our main girl Thea. Like, she is such a badass. I love a strong woman. You already know that. And that brings us to our last book on the TBR, which is going to be This Wretched Valley by Jenny Kiefer. This one is the Full Moon Book Club pick for the month. So not only do we get a whole readathon for the month of August, but also a book club pick. This one, the second I saw this cover, I just knew I had to pick it up. It sounds so incredibly good, and it is just, again, perfect timing because it is a wilderness survival horror book. And like I said, I'm going camping this month, and I just love bringing spooky camping books along with me. So this one will definitely be getting read on my camping trip. This one is about a group of friends who go rock climbing, and something bad happens. So 7 months later, 3 bodies are discovered in the trees just off the highway. All are in various shapes of decay, but the 4th member of this group is still missing. No trace of her, dead or alive, has been discovered. This is gonna be so good. I cannot wait. Also, let's just take a moment for this cover. It looks like a classic, like 80s horror movie, and I'm living for it. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, first of all. And second of all, if you would like to leave me a comment, I think the emoji of this video needs to be the fire. 1, for my camping trip and This Wretched Valley being like a camping horror book, but 2, because it is so hot right now, and I know I am not the only person suffering. So please suffer with me in the comments. As always, I hope you read a good book today, and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.